Welcome back to Regenerative Inspiration. Today I'm actually in Frankfurt, Germany, Offenbach, which is just outside of Frankfurt, Germany. And we were working on a project. I met a wonderful young man named Lionel. He's a pastor here, a church starter as well. And I was so inspired. This is kind of like impromptu. Your family is from Cameroon. You were born in Cameroon, and your family had a certain plan for your life. Is that correct?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and I want to talk about, like, there's a lot of people know that I've changed professions. There's a lot of people that have changed professions. Some people want to change professions, and I think sometimes that might be going into a ministry, it might be going to an organization, it might just be a completely different type of scenario where you're just like, I need to change my life. I need more fulfillment in what I'm doing. And I think that your story really captures that. And I think people need encouragement to say, you know what, if I'm not happy doing what I'm doing, then you should probably quit and find what you're supposed to be doing, you know? I'm not gonna tell you to quit your job, but you know, it's one of those things like, you know, you have to decide that. You know, I had patients long ago that they were so much happier when they left their job. They had no stress. They didn't have to see me every day or every week. And it's like, you know, they moved on and they were so happy, you know, and I think people need to be in that place where they can find that, right? Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your story.
Yeah, I'm coming from Cameroon. I've been born into a small family. We are just two siblings. I'm the only male. I'm the firstborn, and according to our customs or to our way of being, in such a position, I'm the one who has the responsibility over the family, over the whole family. So my parents prepared me for that, and we've had a family business, and my family or my parents wanted me to prepare me to take over the family business to provide for the whole family. Fortunately, my faith came across. I started to believe in Jesus, and I've started to feel another calling into my life. I feel like I wanted to be a pastor. I wanted to serve God in another way. And so I wanted to go to seminary. I would have wanted to go to the seminary in my country. And then my mother had the great reflection at the time because she's been all over Europe because of a lot of partner and business partnership. And she thought that, well, maybe the best way to keep me on track was to relocate me to Germany, because she said, okay, in Africa, the reason I want to become a pastor is because there are a lot of Christians in their heart and they always think on doing something new. And maybe in Germany, I will cool down a little bit because faith is just different there. And this is basically the way I came to Europe. I had an aunt already here in Germany. And I came here to study, to make an engineer study and to cool down a little bit. And the long story short is that I came to Europe. My aunt was about to mentor me on this way, but it turned out that my aunt became a Christian herself, and she was the one encouraging me to go to a seminary. So after being here, I went to the seminary, and now I became a pastor, and then I do it another way.
Well, and the other thing that really made me very inspired was the way that you chose to start a church. Yeah. And it was really to look at the community and not just build a big building, but find out where needs were. Yeah. And when you're finding and serving people, good things can come, right? And so I'd like you to share a little bit about that, whether you're in business or in a ministry or anything, like finding people's needs, meeting them where they're at, and then ultimately helping them, you know, and giving first, right? And showing love, right? Is a way that transforms everything, right? And so share a little bit about that.
Yes. There is a famous theologian and thinker in Germany. He was a fighter of the Nazi regime, and he died executed by him, with the name of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. And he has a famous sentence he wrote in one of his most inspirational book. He said, the church is only church when she's there for others. Church is only church when she's there for others. And this was something that started to move me. as we came into a very difficult context in Offenbach. In 20 years, there were not a single church plant that survived in the city. They're all closed. And where even the Protestant, the big churches are getting out because we have a lot of Muslims and a lot of religions. And I asked myself, how can I reach those people with the gospel? And through Dietrich Bonhoeffer and reading more and more in the Bible, I just became convinced that the only way to do is to do it like Jesus. It's just to come and try to serve the people. To be a servant leader to the people in our church community and inspire them to just meet the needs of their neighbors, to see the needs and to ask God to be the answer of those needs, so that the help doesn't come from somewhere else. We are all skilled with something someone else can need. And so people in our church has really started to engage with the neighborhood very creatively. On the playgrounds, they have organized like playground gatherings where people could just, where children could have relationship and make contact in the communities. They have started to organize arts gathering where artists in the city can come and have a good and positive, encouraging fellowship and feedback with each other. They started project like a kindergarten. They started project like providing for women under domestic abuse. And still we've started to do it this way. Honestly, I've stopped to count the number of people coming to the services because I wanted to be so much focused on the community and not counted how many we come. But now it comes to be like after four years of practicing that yeah, we are running out of space because I think people feel genuine love. And I believe that if people can feel genuine love from a church, from a business, they will buy in. They will buy into that because they're looking for that.
That's right. No, and that's really what I wanted to share. Like, was just your heart, and that heart. I think there's so many people that can be touched by emulating that, even in little ways in their own community, in their own family, in their own business,
Yes.
and affecting those that are around them, right? And I think that's a beautiful thing and a beautiful spirit. And I didn't hear you laugh yet because there we go. He has a wonderful, most wonderful laugh.
Okay.
I love the laugh.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and I think that's that's the joy that's contagious, right? And so I think that's a great and a beautiful thing. And by the way, the kindergarten, I went to see it. It's probably the most I've been to quite a few schools. This is the most organized kindergarten I've ever seen. It is awesome.
Wow.
It is awesome, and it's I know that there's plans for a lot more community centers and things like that.
Yes.
And there's a lot of needs that the government can't meet. There's a lot of needs that businesses can't meet, and you're here to serve and meet those needs, and I love it. Yeah, anything else you'd like to share or add?
Yeah, I think I would just like to encourage whoever listen to keep up with a positive, with a good mindset. I think in my experience, in what I see and what I see in others, is that I don't think there is something so rewarding but also so difficult than really to serve others, because it demands a lot from ourselves, and sometimes the reward doesn't always come in the reaction we have expected. It may be in the selling we want to see, or in the profits, or in the acclamation, or whatever, and sometimes quite the contrary comes. But I just want to encourage everyone to just keep up this right heart, because on the long term, I do believe this is what makes a difference. This is what makes a difference. Many of us don't remember the great, the people who had the biggest advertising or the biggest bling bling around us, but we always remember people who try to impact us with their life. We always remember them. Yeah. So just keep on doing that.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you got something out of this today, and hopefully it's changed your heart, moved you, stirred you in some positive way. And so thank you for joining us again, and we'll see you next time.